Welcome to our world-renowned podcast, Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray. I'm a TEDx and keynote speaker and author. Also, I'm executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. Plus, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Our weekly show features interviews with powerhouse women founders, funders, and change makers that are sure to inspire you. Let's go. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation, as well as executive producer on the movie Show Her the Money. And I don't know if you know this, but also co-producer on an upcoming Broadway show. It's going to be opening soon in 2026 in Los Angeles, and it's called Millennials Are Killing Musicals. And if you know me, you've probably already heard about this. So today we're talking about one of my favorite topics, which is Broadway. And we have on two special guests. So we have on award-winning musical writer. She has been recognized as one of the women to watch on Broadway by the Women's Broadway Fund. Welcome my friend, Nico Juber. And
Hello.
also the director of Millennials Are Killing Musicals, who is a Tony-nominated director for the smash hit Rock of Ages, Kristin Hanggi. Kristin, good to have you here with us.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
So, Nico, Kristin, I am super excited today to be talking about Broadway because, I believe it is the arts that really impact change by raising awareness in an entertaining, engaging way. So I'm excited to talk to you two ladies because, this project, the whole reason I signed on to co-produce me and my wife, Deborah Smalley, the Millennials Are Killing Musicals, is because of the topic of how under-recognized women are in Broadway and how we want to help change that. And this is kind of the topic of our discussion today. So happy to have both of you powerhouse women on.
Thank you. Happy to be here. I too share that same passion. I love to see women creating, directing, producing in entertainment. I feel like it's really important that we are part of the cultural storytelling because for so long we were not.
Exactly that. And Nico, I know you came to me when I was in the middle of producing Show Her the Money, and we got to talking about, how underrepresented women are on Broadway. And I said, I don't know a lot about Broadway, but I certainly am interested in learning more now that you told me, how underrepresented women are. And I'm thinking, well, how can we change that? And one of the ways I think we can change it is by getting by brilliant women like you two and getting their shows off the ground. And, Nico, I love the content of this story. So let's kick it off by talking about Millennials Are Killing Musicals and what the show's about.
Definitely. So at its core, it's about reclaiming authentic happiness in a social media filtered world. And it centers on women. And I think that's one of the exciting things as a writer is that the field is just completely wide open to write women's stories. You can, especially original women's stories, you can really go anywhere and do anything. So I spend a lot of time, in my writing, drawing from my own life. The main character is a millennial mom, which I am one of. And I just felt like there was a story to be told around women of this demographic and our relationship, especially to social media. Although I don't think that you have to be a millennial to understand the pressures of social media and making yourself look a certain way and filtered. But the show centers on three women. The lead is Brenda, and she's ready for love and creativity and all the things that, she's promised around adulting in her life when her younger sister Katrina shows up, who's a social media influencer, 8 months pregnant and totally unprepared for the baby, thinking that this baby is going to boost her social presence. And the two women are, kind of at odds with this woman named Jake's mom at their daughter's school, where they just don't understand her. How could she make everything look so perfect? And the three women are trailed by a Greek chorus of social media filters controlled by the algo, who's basically the whiz of this world. So that's the setup of it. And they have to reclaim their authentic happiness and peel back these filters and get out of the clutches of the algo. So I think and it's set in 2019. It's a very relevant to today's story, kind of pinned in time at the height of the millennial frenzy of millennials are killing this and millennials are killing that.
Yeah, aren't they like killing everything from napkins to marriage? Right?
Yes, I think I haven't counted recently. I think we had close to or over 50 things that millennials been accused of killing that were all real newspaper headlines.
I
So
have to admit, okay, like I think it's pretty apparent I'm not a millennial, but I didn't even know about this phenomenon, about them killing everything off till we got involved in this. And it's fascinating. Everybody's got to Google that. It's so true. But what I love about this show, first of all, it is hilarious, but yet so poignant. It like moved me to tears almost, this storyline, just because how hard it is to be a mom and be a single mom. I am not, but I certainly know people who are, but I really identified with the story. I think there's something in this story, the way you've done it, that almost anybody would identify with it, because let's face it, we all have moms. Like there's not anyone that's watching this right now that doesn't have a mom in some capacity. So I haven't really seen a show, have you, Kristin, that is about motherhood and the struggles of it. And then also on top of it, the cherry on top, I think, Nico, is that you work in the tremendous influence of social media on our kids, on our children. But you do it in a way that's funny, but yet moving. And so, Kristin, I know you could be working on any show. So thrilled you're working on Millennials Are Killing Musicals. What drew you to this particular show?
Well, it was exactly that it was about a mom who was looking to be artistically expressed in the world, to find her creative voice and to find her authentic expression. And I remember when I was a little girl, I used to ask my mom, Mom, what's your dream? And she used to say to me, Happy children. And I would say, That's not good enough. What's your dream? What do you want? I want to know what you want. And it's been this like ongoing joke. But I do think it is challenging for women to find spaces where they can feel like they can authentically be themselves, especially mothers. And so when I read it, I was like, oh, this is a really interesting um, challenge that Nico is expressing. Right. There's a song that I love. It's called that's can I say the title of the Never Poop Alone song?
yeah.
Oh.
Two moms bond because that is now what motherhood is for them. But I do think that there's it's a uniquely female story of it's such a great gift to bring new life into the world. But then also, how do you still hold on to yourself and your own dreams and the things that you want to see happen in the world? And so the way that Nico had articulated this in the musical, and then especially in a social media world where I think it is really hard not to compare yourself to others, and it's really hard to feel like you're not trying to create some sort of performance of self. So the things that she was talking about were so timely in the musical, and she did it with so much humor that I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting." And I think that theme of authenticity and especially female authenticity, yeah, just it was like got me right in the middle of my heart.
And as being a Broadway goer for many years, I never really put much thought about the fact that most of these shows were not produced or written by women or directed by women, and how that really affected the storylines. And, here we know almost 70% of the tickets are purchased by women. Why aren't more of the shows geared toward women and not realizing how few women? What are the statistics, Nico? You were always telling me, and it's always fascinating.
I'll pull them right up now, but and it's shifted a little bit since I kind of dug into it. But in 2019, 13% of Broadway writers were women, which is
Yeah,
low.
13%. So I
Yeah.
always like to do the flip side. That
Yeah.
means 87% were written by men. So how could the storylines be about women when, it's not really practical probably for a man to write a woman's story about motherhood, right? I'm just guessing. So this is why I think we need to get behind artists like you. And Nico, you are so incredibly talented. I am going to mention that you come from an entertainment family. I mean, your grandfather wrote these iconic TV shows like Gilligan's Island and The Brady Bunch. Who doesn't love those? And I think you got his DNA. Of course, your dad, lead guitarist for Paul McCartney and Wings, and your sister writing pop music for popular pop stars. Your family is just ultra talented, and you have that talent. And I always say, another reason I got behind you is you're also not just really, really talented, you're also a brilliant businesswoman. That's really an important combination, I feel, on Broadway for a creator. Not that that's fair. You should be allowed to just be the creator, but icing on top, you're a great businesswoman too. I have to give you. So hats off to you for that too.
Well, thanks, Catherine. I always feel like I can get a pep talk from you, and that will kind of energize me for the rest of the week. But I think there's something to being, growing up in a family where my parents wrote musicals together. I saw them. Remember going to the out of town production of Gilligan when they did the Gilligan's Island musical. So that was always in the sphere of like the things that people could do. I just didn't realize that it was something that I could do. I always wrote music, and when I was in high school, I recorded an album. I wrote spec scripts. There's spec scripts laying around somewhere of like The Office and a bunch of things. So I was always writing comedy. I was always writing music. And then when I was in college, I had a health experience. I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, went through cancer treatment, and have thankfully been in remission since then. But really put me on a path of I need a corporate job. I can't have a job in the arts because there was no healthcare otherwise at that point in time. So that was my elder millennial experience of really being pushed into I need that stability. And before I had my millennial existential crisis and started writing again and kind of coming back to myself. So, I mean, that's clearly thematically reflected in the show itself in terms of my own journey with creativity. But I do think that
So interesting that your corporate experience in business with major, tech companies. You want to mention them?
Sure, yeah. I was at Apple. I was at Adobe for over a decade, and it was really fun. I worked with amazing people on products that I really liked. But there's something different about working on your own
But
project.
what I
And
always find interesting in our lives, and Kristen, you might agree with this, is that everything we do in our life usually tends to be parts of a puzzle that come together for what we're really meant to do. And so that's the way I see it, Nico, is you got that business and marketing experience so you could bring it to the table of what you're meant to do, which is creating these Broadway shows and musicals. And you've written more than just millennials. You've written one called Winter that's also out there right now, great high school musical, and some other things. And speaking of other things, Kristen too. Oh my God, what a resume you have! Besides, of course, Rock of Ages, which, by the way, I think was written by a woman, right?
No, it was written by a man.
Oh, it was written by a man. I thought it was
But
written by a
as a
woman.
director, when I directed it, we were on Broadway in 2009. I didn't realize how much of a Broadway boys club it was until I was literally playing in it. And then I was,
Wow.
whoa, oh, there was only a couple female directors. And then Kelly Devine, a dear girlfriend of mine, choreographed. And I was like, oh wow, we're rare. I didn't realize we were rare until we were there. And
Yeah,
that
and I
was
didn't realize that either till I met Nico and she filled me in, and I thought, well, of course, every sector is underrepresented by women. Why wouldn't Broadway be? But I just thought Broadway would be more women. Uh,
And
yeah.
I do think there's so there's so much happening to get female voices and underrepresented voices in theater forward. I think theater tends to uh, be forward thinking and so wanting to uplift that. But like anything, as we're fighting old paradigms and breaking apart old structures, they don't change quickly or easily. But I think something I didn't fully understand until I was a director was also in film and theater that yeah that women were not at the center of the storytelling. And so if our whole world is fed by the stories that we give them, when only, when one part of the population is telling all the stories, then there are so many stories that aren't getting out there in the world. And women tend to tell stories that are about the community, right?
Yeah.
So so then so then those stories, the stories that like that are about taking care of all of us, like they get to get a little bit when we center women's voices, women have the ability to kind of have these generative voices that are about everyone.
Right, right. And then I know you've worked on many shows, not just Rock of Ages, but that one stands out because of that Tony nomination, um, which I'm sure that win is coming. And hopefully it's with this show. I'm putting that out there, y'all. But I know you've done a lot of other things, but one of them that stood out to me in particular, besides that you've also done television like Netflix musical series Julie and the Phantoms. But also, I mean, this one had to be a really cool one, which was you directed the Pussycat Dolls live at the Roxy with Christina Applegate, Gwen Stefani, Christina Aguilera, and Charlize Theron. Oh my gosh, tell me about that. We have to side
Yeah.
right here on that. Was that amazing?
Yeah, I was really young when it happened too. I had just directed a show called Bear, Bare, which went on to become a real cult hit musical. And I got hired because the Pussycat Dolls was a dance troupe that went on at the Viper Room. And Robin Anton, who created them, she wanted to turn it into something bigger. So we collaborated on the Pussycat Dolls at the Roxy, which was so much fun. And then for a period of time, I was on the Sunset Strip every day putting together this big show that had all these celebrities in it. And then, of course, all these celebrities came and saw the show. But it was at that time that, we also had a bunch of rock stars that would come into the Roxy. And some of them started telling me their origin stories of when they first played the Sunset Strip. So that experience actually sowed the seeds. And then that's where I got, oh, there would be there's a great show in here somewhere about the Sunset Strip in the 80s. And that was a seed that then became Rock of Ages. So you can kind of see how like the career starts to unfold on
Right,
itself.
right. So that seed became Rock of Ages. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, it was during that time being at the Roxy every day,
Right.
that I got inspired by like hearing all the stories of like, oh, there's something here.
And
So
then somebody came to you with that idea to do that.
yeah, then Matt Weaver, who was the producer on Rock of Ages, said, "Hey, we want to do something with 80s music." And so that was the beginning.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love that story. Yeah, there's always a birthing of it, right?
Right. That's
So,
exactly right.
Nico, I know the album has been recorded for Millennials Are Killing Musicals. It's out there. People can find it online, right? And
Yes, anywhere people stream music, they can check out we did what's called a developmental production 2 years ago off Broadway, and we just took the cast right into the studio, and it essentially for us served as almost a concept album, just to get all the music out there, getting people respond to it.
yeah,
And the shows continue to evolve. There are songs that are cut, there are new songs, but this is the life of a musical. I think people love that, having different versions of the show. I know Hadestown had a lot of things like that as the show goes along. So,
and you had the amazing Crystalline Lloyd record that album for you, who was, the star of 1776, also won Tony for Dear Evan Hansen. I mean, the talent you've attracted has been unbelievable, Nico. But I think women that are already successful in Broadway are a magnet to this show. Kudos to you because, like Kristin said, because of the content of it, the storyline that is so different and unusual for Broadway. And I think that's what's really drawn the investors to it, really drawn people to this show. And I am so excited that it's going to be actually debuting, premiering in Los Angeles in May. Let's talk about that for a minute. What theater?
So we're going to be at the Colony Theater in Burbank, which is here in Greater Los Angeles area, which is it's a beautiful space, professional theater, 268 seats, which is, it's been a journey of looking at, talking to artistic directors, looking at places all over the country, trying to figure out where is a good artistic home for the next step. I mentioned that we did this sort of developmental production, which was really the first just taste of getting it up on its feet. Multiple workshops since then. So this will be our what we're calling the world premiere, which is the, quote, out of town tryout before we take it for a commercial production. And and that's the goal. That's the sort of path that we're setting out for ourselves. And that will be in May of 2026. So
To
we're
see that version with Kristen directing because I saw the first off Broadway version, which most people don't know that these shows like Hamilton and all, they start off Broadway in a small public theater like yours did. Then they go to regional theater and then make their way to Broadway. And so, that's all been a learning curve for me. But I was so fortunate to get to see the off Broadway. Literally cried at the end of it, going, "Oh my God, she did it! And this is freaking fabulous." And I love the album too. Love the music. You pointed out one of your favorite songs, Kristen, and I'll tell you one of mine is I can just imagine Nico on the plane writing that. I said, "You wrote that on the plane, didn't you?" The one about being on a plane is just a respite for a mom to be, peace and quiet. Nobody can call you or talk to you. The song is so fabulous, but that's one of many that are in the album that I wanted to point out just because I love that one. Because I travel a lot. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I feel like you probably relate to that people can't hit you up while you're while you're
Yeah.
on the plane. So even
Kids or no kids, we all identify with it.
yeah, I think so. And every show has a different path, right? I mean, there are some shows that don't have an out of town and sort of open straight in New York. There are some that have a nonprofit step and then have a commercial off Broadway step and then transfer. Some shows go to London first. So we're kind of generalizing all of
Right.
the, what
And
it
then
can be. Yeah,
and
but
a lot of people don't know too that invest in Broadway or thinking about it is that it can have a very long life. So once it hits Broadway or off Broadway, which is also very profitable or could be, it can then go also on tour, like Rock of Ages, right? Went on tour to everything from theaters to colleges to cruises. It can have a long life. It could even have, where a reprise where it comes back. And so once you're part of a show, and it's very exciting to be part of that, and of course, I'm always envisioning, hey, let's go to the Tonys. Hey, by the way, Kristen, I can't even imagine. I want you to share with me what it was like to be at the Tonys and be nominated director for a Tony. I mean, was that
Yeah,
like the biggest eye ever?
yeah, it was definitely a dream come true moment. And what was also fun is we were performing, and because we're performing a number of the Tonys, you go into Radio Music Hall and you rehearse during the day, but we had a little like a bit, and we did a bit with an audience member, and the audience member happened to be Liza Minnelli.
Oh
So
my gosh, unbelievable.
imagine my joy getting to direct for a moment Liza Minnelli. I was like, okay, I was like talking to little Kristen and being like, this is a total dreams come true moment. So it was absolutely so fun. Um, now, what I do like to tell people about the Tonys is it's very long. So make sure you have a little snack in your purse because it will go on a long time and you will get hungry. But also
Okay,
it'll
I'm
be
going to keep that in mind because I can't wait to be there.
Um,
Applauding the two of you.
yeah, thank you. And
Let's even get Liza back.
but it's also of course fun to see all of the stars. Jeremy Irons, I believe, was sitting behind me, and yeah, it's a great night, and it's also fun because you think, oh, here's where we celebrate our storytelling, and
Yes.
storytelling at our highest level. Yeah, so it's fun, and being part of the theater community. It's also so fun and rewarding to me where each year I get to see different people and go, oh, it's this person's moment. How exciting. I know they've been working hard for so long, and see shows that I've watched develop for years and years and years finally find their way. So that
Yes.
is a really a cool thing.
I love
Right.
that. And, you know, just to see a woman writer, a woman director celebrated on Broadway is such an anomaly and so exciting. And yeah, just looking forward to what all the possibilities around Millennials Are Killing Musicals, and just super excited to have you both on today. Is there anything you'd like to say, both of you, in the wrap up?
Would love for everyone to follow us on TikTok, MAKM Musical, and on Instagram, Millennials Are Killing Musicals. Follow along for the journey. Come see us in May when we open. Again, this is going to be the world premiere, fully realized production, which so excited to share with everybody and just what we've been working on.
And Kristen, any closing words?
Oh, yes, come see us, as Nico talked about. And the fun of seeing a show at this stage in the development is you're part of its creation. So we're going to learn so many things here when we see the show up on its feet at the Colony and we watch an audience react to it, that you're actually helping to create the show with us.
I love that. And, I have felt the honor of being part of this from almost the beginning, and getting to go to New York and to the read-throughs, and seeing it grow and blossom. And I too can't wait to see it in LA, and of course, onward after that. But it has been so wonderful to learn about Broadway, how it's a business, how it comes together, and how with this show we are helping change the wave of women being celebrated on Broadway, our stories, the people creating it, the directing it, all of that. And so excited to be a part of this, you two, and couldn't be
Catherine,
more
I
honored
just
with.
want to say
Yeah.
one more thing, because I feel like I have to shout out the women artistic directors who also take chances on women-driven work, right? So if I think back to, you know, Out of the Box, where we had theatrics, where we had our off-Broadway developmental production, Liz Fleming is the artistic director there. IAMA Theatre Company here in LA, Stephanie Black, woman artistic director, and then the Colony Theater, Heather Provost, woman artistic director. So I think you're seeing a pattern of there women definitely, like in any other industry, are the ones to support and uplift women. I know in the work that you do around, especially with investing and venture, and people create their own tables, right? If men aren't going to invest in women's products and women's projects, women create the table to sit at. So I think that that's been my experience with this project, and had to, give them their thanks for, just being involved in the process.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. And I'm a big proponent of women investing in women, but I also think there's a big movement of girl dads out there that support their daughters. I know your dad, Lawrence, is one of them. And, we need all of those people, girl dads and women investing in women. And that is going to change the landscape so that we do hear more women's stories on Broadway. We have a chance to be pioneers and change makers in this arena. And the arts is such an important way for us to impact culture and create change. And we can all be a part of that. So, how exciting is that? So, please reach out. Nico Juber is on LinkedIn and Instagram. Kristen, you on LinkedIn?
I'm not on LinkedIn, but I need to get on LinkedIn.
So where
Uh,
do we find you?
but you can find me on Instagram at Hanggi Love, my last name Hanggi, and then Love, or I have a website, kristinhanggi.com. But those are all the
Great.
places.
Maggie Love. I love that handle.
Thank you. I like it too.
Yeah. Well, I am at, our website is sheangelinvestors.com. Also, we have our movie, showherthemoneymovie.com. And we have a movement going to get more women to be investors in alternative investment to build wealth and to make an impact. And that would include everything from venture capital to films to Broadway, of course. And so you can reach me on LinkedIn as well, or check our websites out. But I'm always willing to connect and have a conversation to have people involved in our projects to create change. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make it a great week, everybody. Kristin, Nico, thank you for being great guests.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.